Hi guys, Laura here. I'm here today to do two reviews for you. They are both Owl Crate books. The first book I'm going to talk about is the March book. Oh no, sorry, the April book, and then I'm going to talk about the March book. So the first book was from the Head Over Heels box, which is by Becky Albertalli, and it is The Upside of Unrequited. This is the companion novel to Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda, which I loved. I really, really enjoyed it when I read it, and this is the sequel. This follows Abby's cousin Molly and her twin sister Cassie. And the book starts out, Cassie is a gay character, and this book is told from Molly's point of view, and Molly is a straight character. And Molly has had 26 crushes in her entire life, and they have never gone anywhere. She's never told these boys how she feels. She's just had these crushes. Um, and Cassie is a very, very different type of person, and she is very, very free. She has a lot of relationships, but she's never really had a girlfriend. So at the start of this novel, that is where they are, and Cassie is determined that Molly will have a boyfriend this year, or have like a boyfriend. And Molly is just not having it. Molly is also through the novel is a plus size woman or a plus size character, feels very, very uncomfortable about some things, and she does not think it's feasible. And then all of a sudden, Cassie gets a girlfriend, and that kind of throws the sisters' relationship into somewhat of a turmoil. And ironically, Molly winds up possibly falling for two boys. So she's in the middle of kind of like a love triangle, and her sister is in a relationship. It was a really, really good book. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was a very, very impressive way to tell um, a boy girl romance story and a girl romance story, all connected with the two sisters learning how to deal with their relationship when they are not the most important relationship in the world, which I thought was so unique and so different. There was a lot of issues that were addressed, like body shaming, racism. Also, Cassie and Molly have two moms, which I thought again was a brilliant way of doing it. This story is so diverse. Like there is diverse characters everywhere, and it just felt like real life. It feels like you could walk into this novel and it would be like today. And I thought it was just such a good way to explore all these relationships with the sisterhood as a base point. I loved how she writes the sisters' relationship, and I loved the intensity that she placed on it. This book also fell into right around the time when DOMA was overturned, so everyone in the United States could be married, which I thought was great. And they had a wedding at the end of the novel. It was such a special book, and I felt like if you really like Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda, this book was just as just as well done. But it really just explored not only the complexities of relationship, but the how relationships can affect brothers and sisters and friends. And I think as someone who sometimes you get dropped when your friends have boyfriends, I think that it really did deal with that stuff in a really realistic way. And I really liked both um, romantic partners that we got to meet. I really liked um, Reed as well. And the other guy named Will, I really like. So I thought that it was it was just a really, really cool story, and I loved it. It was heartbreaking at the same time and very, very emotional. But I really liked the way that Molly's character turned out, and I thought that it was a really good way to tell a story. And if you haven't read Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda, I recommend you read it first because there is crossovers with the Simon characters and Abby and Simon. So if you haven't read it, you're just gonna meet these characters and not know the background, which I think you kind of need to know. And there's a little bit of a Harry Potter Easter egg in there as well, which I thought was so spectacular. So if you want a really fun romantic story, I'd check it out. But also highly diverse. And yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. I also did a long form review on my blog, Laura's Bookish Corner, and that will be my I think I scheduled it for a couple of days, so it should be up by Thursday, I think. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. The next book I want to talk about today is oh my god, not October, the May Owl Crate, which the theme was Comic Explosion, and it is Eliza and Her Monsters by Frances Zapia. I really love this book. I give this book 4.5 stars. And it's told from this character's name. Her name's Eliza, and she is a fandom person. She also is the anonymous creator of Monstrous Sea, which is a very, very popular webcomic series, and she is the creator of it. And she winds up, she's very, very socially awkward. She doesn't have a whole lot of friends. She has no friends, but she has a she has a lot of friends online through her online fandom, and she loves spending time online. But socially, she's definitely kind of awkward in real life. When unexpectedly, one of her biggest fans transfers to her school, they strike up a friendship, but she doesn't tell him that she is the creator of this, and he ultimately starts writing a novel inspired by her fan fiction. So they strike up a relationship and eventually a romance. Um, but when her identity is unexpectedly revealed, it throws her life and her whole entire world into chaos. So it's a really, really good book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I will admit, Liza was, during the start of this book, Eliza was not my favorite character. And I think the whole point of this book is you had to get through the story to really like Eliza. By the end, I love Eliza, but she was a hard character to like at points, especially in reference to her family stuff. I felt like that's not how I would react in those situations, but I felt like she was almost like she couldn't do anything right. I did like about the stories that it was told in like prose, it was told through Eliza's point of view, it was told through drawings inspired from her webcomics, and then it was also told through like from her online friends. I think her online friends was probably one of the highlights of the story for me. I love friendships through online medium. A lot of my friends I have met online, and they have become some of my best friends, or especially through the Harry Potter fan, and there are some people that I'm still friends with to this day. And I felt like that the book got really, really right, and I loved reading her story, reading, like looking at her pictures and stuff like that, and then seeing the experience she was having online. I really think that Frances was able to get the online fandom community really, really well, and I thought that was so well done. Um, the romance between Eliza and Wallace at points was like felt like a little bit of insta love, but I think because she is so socially awkward, I think that it eventually worked for me. But I really did like the character of Wallace, and I felt like at points like Eliza just didn't deserve this character because she was so bitter and so angry and so like very she had a lot of tunnel vision. And I think if anyone like told something she didn't like, she would just shut down. And Wallace said that at some points. Oh, now you're not going to talk to me. But when her world blew up, I thought it was so well done. It dealt with depression. It was a very, very creative way of doing it, and I really, really liked it. And I think I got my ending. I loved the ending of the story because I thought that it was, you really had to see it through to the end to really understand it. But I think that if you like books like Fangirl or like anything that has like fandom elements or like even like Hollywood connections, I think you'd really like Eliza. It reminded me the most of Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. That's like the closest connection I can think of. But I really did enjoy it, and I think that if you're in the mood for like a little bit of an artistic contemporary, I really felt that it dealt a lot with like the artistic journey and motivation to create and stuff like that, and what happens when you are not motivated to create anymore. Do you owe it to yourself? Do you owe it to your fans to create even if you don't want to? But yeah, I thought that it had a lot of interesting things, and I highly recommend it if you liked Fangirl to check it out. Or if you just want like a kind of off the wall romance, it also was really, really good. But yeah, those are my thoughts about Eliza and her monsters and the upside of Unrequited. I will have long form reviews on my blog, so I hope you guys will check it out. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!